Real estate, the real estate side is interesting. So I'm a developer, more than anything else. So I like to build, lease up and then sell,
Yeah.
or build and sell. That's kind of what I do. I don't like to hold long term, and that's just me. I'm not saying that's the right strategy for anybody. I'm just saying me personally. I like to build and sell. I like to get in and get out. It's what I've done my whole career. It's what works for me. So that's just how I'm wired, where I come from. And the development game oftentimes is bigger dollars. Um, the other angle is great too. There's some very successful people that in long-term wealth, is built through holding assets. And as I get older, I'm looking more towards, holding more assets. But, I'm only 51, so my career so far has been all development. But the way I got started, it's really funny. I didn't even know you could do real estate investing as a business. I just didn't know. I'd owned 3 houses when I had moved to the beach and started my first company. And as I started doing deals for people, I started learning about real estate investing and what these people were doing. And then I had a friend of mine who was a realtor that knew of a lot that was for sale. And he came to me and said, "Hey, we can buy this lot. And then I know somebody who wants to buy it for, whatever it was, 50,000 more than we're paying for it. All we got to do is buy it and we can resell it to them." And I'm like, "Can we do that?" And he said, "Sure." So I was like, okay, that was a retail flip, wholesale, they call it wholetailing.
Yeah.
So he said, "Look, put up the money, I'll do everything else." He was a realtor. I was like, okay, no problem. So I put up the money, he did everything, and we split, I don't know, we made 20, 30 grand a piece, 15 grand a piece, whatever it was, in 30 days. And I was like, man, that's easy. So that's when the light bulb started going off about, doing real estate investing and flipping properties. And then I ended up getting my real estate license and doing a little bit of real estate along the way. I had a real estate brokerage under my construction arm as well. So it was real estate and construction were the 2 things that I did. And then I just started building spec houses and started flipping some houses. Then I started developing some properties, buying buildings, tearing them down, redeveloping, built some commercial buildings, did some residential subdivisions, and everything just kind of scaled from there. So, just baby steps, and it sounds like a lot. It sounds like it's, overnight, but I mean, this is 23 years.
Exactly.
And it was 10 years of working for other people, including the military, prior to that 23-year career. So I didn't get there overnight. I worked very hard. I mean, there were times in my life when I was young, when I worked 7 days a week, 16 hours a day in construction. It was just me doing all the work, and I'm a very hard worker. So if I was on a job and I knew I could finish it by 10 o'clock tonight instead of coming back the next day, I would stay and finish it at 10 o'clock at night. And I was doing some government contracting before I moved to the Outer Banks, and I was traveling up and down the East Coast, and I'd be out of town. So, instead of staying, late, I would just, or instead of getting up and finishing and then going home late, I would just stay late at night till 10, 11, 12 o'clock, whatever it took, finish the job. That way I could leave in the morning and go home. So, that's just, how I did it and how I started. And it's kind of how I'm wired. It depends on the individual. It depends on their
Yeah.
financial position, what their, career is, what their understanding of real estate is, all those things. So, if you're going to be a flipper, if you're going to flip properties, it all begins with education. And like you said, work ethic, sense of urgency, the best time to do anything is right now. I have zero backlog in my life. I take care of everything as it comes in, whether it's email, mail, phone call, whatever it is. I take care of it right now, and I don't procrastinate. I don't shelve anything. I don't put anything on my to-do list. I knock everything out. So when I go to bed at night, my calendar is clear. My to-do list is clear. Obviously there are some things that you got to move to the next day, but the bottom line is whatever that task is for the day, I've got it taken care of, and I have zero backlog. So I have no stress. I'm very efficient and organized when it comes to those things, and very strong sense of urgency. So what I would tell people is understand, to be successful in business, you've got to have those things. You've got to work hard. You got to be diligent. You have to have a work ethic. You have to, have sense of urgency. Figure out how you're wired and what it is that you're drawn to. Whether it's like me, building and developing, getting in and getting out. If you want long-term passive income, then study those strategies and learn about how to manage properties and how to manage property managers. Learn how to finance. The key is in the financing. The key is in the money. So if you're going to build a portfolio of investment properties, you need capital to purchase those properties. So you need to know how to raise money, and you need to know how to find the money. And that's really the key to the deal, right? The money is the key to the deal. The money has the loudest voice. So if you can raise capital and control the capital, then you can get a nice stake in deals that you don't even have to do anything with. You can just come in and be a capital partner and get involved in some really good deals. Maybe you're good at finding deals. So a good way to get started is to go out and find opportunities to bring them to somebody else who has the money. So that's another way to get started. But it really begins with education. You really have to understand real estate, all the different types of real estate, the different classes of assets, the different strategies in real estate, and just find what appeals to you. Maybe it's office buildings, could be retail, it could be multifamily, could be industrial. I mean, there's a lot of people that will specialize in a niche, and then there's people like me that do all the asset classes. And really, what it boils down to is if you're going to be narrow and focused in your type of asset and the class of asset, then you have to be wide in your geography, right? So you know, if you want to focus on nothing but apartments and 200 to 500 unit apartments, you're going to have to expand your geography in that search. But if you are narrow in your geography, in other words, if you don't want to travel and you don't want to go across the country and outside of the country, you know, depending on where you're located, um, then you have to pick, then you have to be diversified in your asset base. So that was me. I was geographically limited. I didn't want to be away from my family and travel. You know, I was coaching every sport for my kids, and we were in a small community. So I was diverse in my asset class and base. So that's why I've done so many different things and so many different asset classes and types of assets, is because, you know, I was geographically limited and still am, you know, pretty much to the Southeast region. So I do all sectors and I enjoy all of the different asset classes, and there's great opportunities in all of them. So that's kind of what I would tell people. Become an expert, educate yourself, learn everything you can, find somebody who's successful doing what you want to do, learn from them by you can either hire them. There's people like me that do coaching and mentoring. You can go to work for people, you know, if they're in your area and they're doing what you want to do, offer to go to work for them, even if you got to work for free, if you can. Just say, look, I want to learn the business. I'll do anything you need me to do. I'll run paperwork. You know, I'll shadow you, whatever. Is there anything I can do? I want to learn the business. So depending on the type of company and your education and your background, you know, you might be able to find that kind of opportunity. And then there's the investment side. You know, if you've got money and you want to get involved and you want to be a passive investor, you can invest in other people's deals. So that's really the three ways that you can get involved in real estate.